So this is what I'll be covering in these sessions. So in the workshop, I'll be talking about what is user experience process, and I'll try and explain what a different kind of process and why we follow that process, and like how we use this process to create good products. Similarly, we'll try to understand this UX process with the help of some case studies. So some existing case studies, some we'll work and create some case studies. So that is what we'll do. Along with that, we'll also use this UX process to solve a real problem. So basically what we'll do is we'll take a real problem, and I will explain in these sessions by taking a problem and then explaining like how the research is done, how the problem is understood, and how the perfect alignment between the user goal and the business goal is done. Along with that, I'll also talk about like how to define and create different artifacts. Okay, so that is what I'll do, and also teach you like how to design and prototype and all. But it will be like very high level, because I'll not be able to cover everything. So but I want to give it the max, so that's why I'll try to teach whatever I can in that like 2 months time. So but I'll take real problem statement and then work on it. Parallelly, I'll also work and explain and teach what is graphic design and like how to use this graphic and visual design in the designing of product. So that is basically the website, or it could be like the mobile app and so on. And while teaching this, I'll also show you or teach you like how to create visual designs. Okay, so I'll give you a lot of assignments, and we'll have to like work and come up with the solutions or the designs, and then we'll discuss, we'll share, I'll share feedback, and we'll discuss about those things, right? So in this, we'll try to create different artifacts by using the different processes, and also like parallelly we'll also create visual design and prototype. Okay, so that's like very high level. Now let's get deep into this and understand like what I'll be teaching what I'll be covering in this UX workshop. And this is like a very high level outline, so but still you'll get an insight of like, okay, so what I'll be talking and what I'll be covering. So this is generally a UX process. So it starts with research, understanding the problem, and then you analyze what your findings, then you ideate and design, and then create prototype, and then finally test. So this is like very high level UX process. So I'll try to cover everything. I'll try to cover and teach you like how these things are designed and all. So these things are what I'll cover in this sessions. So basically it will start with the overview of the UX process. There are a lot of different work processes. So I'll try to teach you about that, and also I'll try to make you understand the importance of the UX, and then what is the process, what is the strategy, how to create a strategy, and then how to understand the business problem, and then create the strategy around that, and then also try to align with the user goals, and then create solutions and the final product. Okay, so also in this phase when we are learning, we'll also just try to learn about how to create digital products. Okay, so website, we'll take some example of website, we'll also take example of a mobile app, and so on. And if possible, I'll also try to talk about like how designs are done for kiosk or other channels or the mediums. Okay, so when talking about process and all, I'll also try to explain like what are the different research methods, what is the importance of the research methods, and also try to explain the difference between the qualitative and the quantitative research methods, and also like how we do the competitive analysis, comparative analysis, so those things. Okay, so everything in detail. And once the research is done, how do we analyze the research, how we try to make meaning out of or take meaning out of the research or the data that we get from research, and by creating like good meaningful artifacts like persona, empathy map, and then affinity diagram, scenarios, user journey. We'll try to learn about those things also, like how to create and what are the things needs to be considered when designing this, and then how to use this in the process. Okay, and along with that, I also talk about what is design thinking and how collaborative thinking really helps in coming up with the right solution. And yes, I will talk about a lot of different ideas here, like how to do this ideation, or how to conduct this ideation workshops and so on. So yes, so we'll cover design thinking also. And once your research is done, once the ideation is done, how do you use the information architecture to define different artifacts? Okay, like information hierarchy, like interaction flow, site maps, screen flows. How do we define that? How do we create that? We'll talk about that. And parallelly, we'll also talk about like different tools that we can use. Okay, we'll use like 1 or 2 or 3 tools, but I'll also give an overview of like what are the existing tools that is there in the market, and you can select any. Okay, so all tools are similar. It's not about tool, it's about understanding the process. So I'll be focusing more on the process, but yes, you are free to choose or opt for any tool. Fine. And then parallelly, I'll also teach you how to conduct usability testing. So basically, once you have the product, once you have some idea, as a designer, as a good designer, we always should go and like test the product or the wireframes or the prototype with the user, because that really gives you good insights, lets you have feedback at the very early stage, and that really helps, like save a lot of resources and money and time. So timely feedback is very important in the UX process, so I'll try to cover that too. And at the end, I'll also try to since I'll be explaining you with the help of a real example, I'll also try to show you like how to draft case studies, and also we'll try to explain like how human psychology and like what is the importance of human psychology and how it plays a very important role in when designing a solution. So understanding human psychology is very important for designers. Okay, and also things to be considered when designing for different mediums. Okay, getting it? So this is what I'll cover with the help of UX process, and we'll also study different examples. Okay, these are the examples of the previous students. So basically, they have done good work. So we'll try to understand their thought process, how they understood the problem first, and then how they use the UX process to create final solutions. Okay, so we'll do that. So this is one example. This is another example. There are more examples. So I'll ask the students to come and like give you the walkthrough of the solutions and the process and so on. So yes, we'll do that. And there will be many solutions. Okay, not just two, but we'll try to cover and introduce many solutions to you, many case studies to you, so that you are able to understand the full process end to end. So that was like high level what I'll be covering in the UX part. So if I have to talk about the UI, so these are the other things that I'll be covering. Okay, so when I talk about UI, there are a lot of different things, a lot of different forms. Like we design logo as a designer, we also come up with like posters, then labels, boxes. So these are like the offline graphic design work that we used to designers used to do. But now talking about the digital space, so we do user interface designs, right? Website design. So we'll cover those things also in this sessions. So, and these are the different things that I'll cover. So I'll give you an overview of what is visual design. I'll try to talk about graphic design, some history about that, how this evolved, and the importance of understanding of the graphic, the rules, the principles, and also like how to perfect the design process. So again, like we have in the UX, we have this UX process. In the design also, like you can come up with your own process. You can create your own process, and by refining your process, you can really become a good designer. So I'll talk about that, how to do that, how to practice, and how to enhance your skills. So that is about the overview. The next is basically the visual composition. So what makes good design? We'll try to understand that, like free space, negative space, use of colors, then use of different shapes, box, round, circle, triangle. How do we use that? How do we use lines and so on? So we'll try to understand those two with the help of like good examples. So I'll give you some assignments and you'll have to work and create some designs and so on. So we'll do that. And parallelly, I'll also try to give you a very high level understanding of different design elements. Okay, and how to use this, how to combine this, and then create real good framework, information architecture, and then the design. Parallelly, understanding of typography is very important. So as a designer, we need to understand like which typography, which font, and how to use these fonts at different places. Okay, so if you're creating a poster, then you can like go and like create or use any fonts. There's no too much limitation, but when working for the digital space, we need to think and consider a lot of different factors. So we'll talk about that, and also we'll talk about what are the different classifications and like font families, and also like how to put everything, all these learnings together, and then use that in the artwork or the designs. Similarly, color is very important because a lot of students face a lot of problem, figuring out like what should be the color, and like what should be the combination of the color, what should be primary, secondary, and how to use it tertiary color. So we'll try to understand that with the help of the color wheel. Okay, and so we'll also like understand different types of colors. So they're like warm colors, cool colors, and there are other categories also. We'll try to understand that, and every color has some meaning. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We'll try to understand that meaning, and then by understanding that meaning, it will become very easy for us to use the colors in our design. So basically selecting the right color for the designs. So color also I'll talk about. And then there are a lot of different principles like balance, proximity, alignment, repetition, contrast, hierarchy. So these things also we'll cover. And now, like just by like following few of these principles, your design, you can enhance your design. Like alignment, if your all the objects, all the elements on the screen or the design is like perfectly aligned, your design will look good. Okay, if you have a lot of different elements and if the design is not balanced, it will look off and the design will not look good. So we'll try to understand the principles and then create our designs accordingly. Fine, you getting it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. So
Yes, sir.
along with
Yes, sir.
yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Along with that, we try and understand the different principles of how the layouts are designed. Okay. Now, for example, if it's a very complex medical product. Okay. So now the layout or the thought process behind the layout for that kind of product will be different from the thought that should be like that should go behind and like that should be like used when creating a educational product. Similarly, a lot of thinking goes when you're designing products for elderly people, kids, and for people who are techie, because they have their different skill sets and so on. So we learn the principles and use this principle to create right layouts and designs. And similarly, it's important to understand like for what medium are we designing the product or the screen or the artwork, because till the time we won't have an understanding and the limitations of that particular medium, so it will become very difficult. It will not be easy for us to create that design. So understanding that medium is also very important. So that's what I'll try and cover. So basically in the visual design, I'll try to give you like small idea of a very high level idea of like graphic design, different principles, how the composition should be made, and how to use different design elements, and then what font, how to select the font. And parallelly, I'll also talk about colors, because color plays an important role in design, right? And also the principles. So by covering these things, you will, I think like you'll have a good understanding of the design as well as the user experience. So now I know that some of you have applied for UX, some of you have applied for UI. So that's why what I've done is I have tried to I've kept like one day for core UX, one day for core UI, and the third day for mix of both. Why? Because as a UX designer also you need to understand the UI or how the designs are made, and as a designer also you need to understand like how this UX works. So that's why like one day where I'll be teaching both, and the other 2 days is basically specifically for each of this UX and UI. Okay, and you all had this question, right? Like when would this session be conducted? So this is the time. So every Tuesday, every Friday, and every Sunday, the sessions will be conducted, and these are the different topics that I'll cover on these days. Tuesday will be user experience, Friday will be user experience and visual design, and that's basically core design, and Sunday is basically user experience and user interface and visual design. Okay, so this is what I'll cover, and stay relaxed. So you don't have to like think too much. Just come attend the sessions, and yeah. So you don't need to do any homework. Only you'll have to do homework or like only when I give you assignment. Otherwise, like just relax, chill, and yeah. So take a note of this timing and days, and yes, we'll then work on it. Okay. And yes, I have some bonuses or like some other additional benefits, or like I think like you'll enjoy this later on, like once you're done with these sessions. So one is basically, yes, I'll help you create or define your own case study format depending upon the product you'll be working on. So basically what will happen is like as a part of this workshop, you'll have to select one topic, okay? And then you have to select that topic and use my learnings, like whatever I'll be teaching with that UX process and all, to basically do the research, then create the different artifacts, then create the wireframes and the prototype, and then convert that prototype in the form of case study. So I'll give you a format. I'll give you basically I'll try to explain like how the case studies are made. So this is like important thing because you as a designer you'll need this, okay? And similarly, I'll help you in creation of the right or perfect resume. So there's nothing called perfect, but like right resume, okay? So I'll help you with that. Along with that, I'll also give you some sample interview questions and also some answers so that you can prepare using those sample questions. And yeah, so I conduct a lot of design thinking sessions. So I'll, someone who's like very serious and who's like will be really putting like good effort and in learning and so on. So I'll invite you to my design thinking sessions also, and along with that, I'll also pair you with like senior designers and make you work on different assignments, on case studies. Okay, so I'll do that. And finally, once you will be done with your portfolio, I'll help you, or basically I'll review the portfolio. I'll review the case study and give you feedback so that you can improve your portfolio and the case studies. Okay, so that's what I'll do at the end. And this will be a 2 month journey, but the core objective is not the duration, not the days, not the times. It's about learning. Okay, so spend good time, and yeah, so like whatever I'll be teaching, like please pay attention and do your homework, and parallelly work on all the assignments. Okay, so I'll be giving you a lot of different assignments. I think like 3 assignments per week, because we have 3 classes, 3 sessions, so 3 assignments. So yeah, so do work, and if you'll take this seriously, I think like by the end of the like 2.5 months, you'll have the complete understanding of the UX process and about design. That's UI design, about UX, and yeah, I think like then slowly, as a solo designer, you can easily create any solution. So it will become very easy once you'll have a clear understanding of the full process. Okay, I hope this makes sense, like what I talked about. So yeah, so that's what I had. This is what I had to announce. And what I'll do is I'll share this PDF with you. Okay, in the group, you can go through it. You can keep it for yourself, with yourself, and then refer it as and when you get time. And because it also has the mention of this dates and time, so it will be helpful for you.